ENG Spanish. Hey guys, it's Eric from ENG Spanish Tutorial. Today we'll be discussing direct object pronouns. So we don't have to be so repetitive. We have direct object pronouns in English also. So for example, let's say, I love pasta. I eat pasta every day. I call pasta on the phone. Instead of just repeating this over and over and over again, no one wants to hear pasta, pasta, pasta over and over again. It doesn't sound fluid. So direct object pronouns are great because they avoid that. So now you can say, I love pasta. I cook it every day. I eat it every day. I call it every day. Let's talk about direct object pronouns. First, let's list them. Here are the direct object pronouns. Me, te, lo, and la, nos, los, las. Okay? These are your direct object pronouns. Now, they answer two questions. Who or what? Okay? Your direct object pronoun has to do with what's receiving the action. So, let's look at some examples in English. My sister. Which one of these four words is the direct object? Who's receiving the calling? Ben, right? Okay, what about she cooks bread? Alright, here's your direct object. Notice, you can kind of make this into a question, make this sentence into a question. Who did she call? My sister. This is where the who came in. Okay? She cooks bread. Now you can say, what does she cook? Bread. This answers the what. So, like in my example with pasta earlier, instead of saying pasta over and over and over again, I am instead going to replace it with one of these pronouns. Okay? And this is also where the personal a comes into play. So let's look at this first sentence up here. I call my sister. Okay? Is it I call me? No. I call you? No. I call us? No. I call them? No. I call you all? No, right? I call him? No. I call her? Yes. So once we've already established somewhere in the conversation I've already mentioned my sister, I have no need to repeat my sister again. So now we just want to replace this with a a direct object pronoun, okay? So that's why they're there for. So let's translate this sentence first. I call my sister. Llamo mi hermana. Okay? I call my sister. But in Spanish, we have something called the personal a. And the personal a is used when your direct object, which is again my sister, so when your direct object is a person, or sometimes it's used with pets if they're, it depends on the person with pets, but with people, when your direct object pronoun is a person, you need the personal a right here. Llamo a mi hermana. Okay, let's say I've already said, someone asked me, who do you call? And I say, oh, I call my sister. Llamo a mi hermana. And then I say, I call her every day. Now we didn't say I call my sister every day. I said we call her every day. Let's make this a mi hermana into one of the direct object pronouns. And we've already established that it's going to be la, right? Her. So now we can get rid of a mi hermana. Get rid of it, because we're not saying mi hermana anymore, right? Now we're using la. But we can't just say llamo la. Here's why. Because one of your placement rules for direct object pronouns is it goes before, rule number one, it can go before a conjugated verb. Here's your conjugated verb. Here's where your la goes. Okay, now we have, I call her each day. I call her each day. Or todos los días. Or una vez a la semana, one time a week. It doesn't matter. What matters is, here's your direct object pronoun. It's replacing the word my sister, so we don't have to say that again. Here's your conjugated verb. Your direct object goes before your conjugated verb. Okay, what about, I eat bread. Okay. First, ask yourself, what's the direct object in this sentence? If you said bread, you're right. Okay? I can make this into a question. What are you eating? And my answer would be bread, right? What? This is the what we're replacing. We don't want to say bread anymore. We just used it. So you could say como el pan. Okay? Which one of these will replace el pan? Los? No, it's just bread is singular here, right? It's not plural. Not los or las. It's not la because el pan is masculine. This time, it's going to be lo because it's masculine singular. So now let's replace el pan with lo. We can't have this following this. It's not grammatically correct. Our rules say it goes before the conjugated verb. Lo como todos los días. That's one placement rule. I would write that down on a piece of paper. It can go before a conjugated verb. So what if I'm a big fan of cooking my own bread? I don't like to, buy it from the store. Okay? How about I want to cook the bread? Quiero cocinar el pan. What do we want to cook? The bread. We've already established it's lo because it's the only one that makes sense. Now, let's get rid of this and replace it with lo. And like I said before, you can put it before a conjugated verb. Here is your conjugated verb. This is your infinitive. That means there's no conjugation. It doesn't belong to anyone. This is your conjugated verb. That means you can put lo here. Lo quiero cocinar. I want to cook it. We have another place that we can put this lo, or any of these direct object pronouns. Our first place we could put it was before a conjugated verb. Well, yeah, sure. We have a conjugated verb here, so our rules say it can go there. But we have a second option. Our second rule, or our second placement, I guess, is it can go attached to an infinitive. Here is your infinitive verb. Attaching it, it looks funny, but that's right. Quiero cocinarlo. And this structure is a little more similar to English, which is why a lot of you will prefer it. So I want to cook it. They're both correct. Okay? So let's do another one. How about this? You're on winter break, I guess, and you're asking your family, when are you going to visit me? When? Cuando? Van ustedes, your parents or your sisters, your brothers, whatever, cuando van a visitar who? This is the one you want now. Me. Now, our rules say, our options are before a conjugated verb or attached to an infinitive. So the great thing about this is we can either say cuando me van a visitar and end it there. Or our other options say we can attach it to this infinitive, right? Here's your conjugated verb. Here is your infinitive verb, right? So now we can attach it. Cuando van a visitarme? Okay? So when are you going to visit me? Okay, how about my mom? calls us every day. Who's receiving the calling? Us, right? Okay, so we know our direct object is going to be us. This is the one that means us. So we could say, well, actually, we only have one option here, right? Here's our conjugated verb. We don't have an infinitive to attach it to, so it has to go right here. Mi mamá nos llama. So those are the two placement options we have so far. Depending on how your book is structured, you might have been exposed to commands already. If not, don't worry, you'll get to it eventually. So what about, you're telling the waiter, you're at a restaurant, and you're asking him politely, of course, bring us the menu. El menú. Which one of those, which one is your direct object? Which one are we using? Well, it's el, it's not plural, so it can't be los, right? Los singular. This is going to be replaced by lo. Okay, and if you know your command for traer, the verb to bring, you know, here's your usted command. Tráigalo. Here's your usted command. Here's your direct object. Notice what we did there. Oh, and there's an accent. 1, 2, 3. Tráigalo. Accents usually don't fall on the I or the U, so we're going to skip it and go to the A. And you can hear it. Tráigalo. We're not saying traígalo. We're saying tráigalo. Okay? So this lo can go attached. This lo, with commands, your direct object pronoun has to be attached if it's affirmative. So if you're saying, yes, bring it, that's an affirmative command, right? So that means our pronoun has to be attached. If we're saying, no, don't bring it, we would say, no lo traiga. Don't bring it. Rule, now these two are rules. They have to be done this way. I'm going to erase the top, so hopefully you have it already. Let's go over our placement rules again. Okay. You can put a direct object before a conjugated verb attached to an infinitive, which is the verb untouched. It's with the AR, ER, IR ending still. With command, if your command is affirmative, that means your direct object pronoun must be attached. Okay, with an accent third from the back. Your rule for negative commands means your direct object pronoun is before the command. Okay? And there's one last rule that I forgot to go over. And your direct object pronoun can also be attached to the present progressive. So at the end of ando or at the end of yendo, depending on if you learned this yet. So, for example, I am reading the menu. Instead of saying the menu again, we're going to use lo, right? So if I'm doing it right now, I could say estoy leyendo. Now we can attach it. Lo. 1, 2, 3. Leyéndolo. I am reading it. Or, like our option 1 says, before a conjugated verb. This is a conjugated verb. You could also say, lo estoy leyendo. Just know that this, you're always safe with putting it before a conjugated verb, unless it's a command. Then you have specific rules you have to look at. So those are your rules for direct object pronoun placement.